Kathleen with Kathleen's Trodden Trail, coming to you this Tuesday afternoon, March the 21st, I think it is. No, March the 20th. It is another cold and gray and dreary day. This morning we had rain and snow and maybe a little bit of sleet, and it's dried up, but it really hasn't improved in terms of how it looks outside. It's still awfully yucky outside, but I guess it is the first day of spring, so there's hope to be found. I'm gonna just do a quick update video and just do one 15-minute video. Try not to drag it on too much, and then I have a soccer game to go watch in the freezing cold. Maddie had a tournament this weekend, and we ended up in a sleet slash hail slash snowstorm with lightning, luckily, and so the game was delayed about an hour, and but they ended up winning the tournament, so that was nice. But I was absolutely just chilled to the bone, and we were really dressed for it. It was just terribly cold, so I'm ready for some spring games and a little bit of warmth. I hope you all are well. Things are just kind of chugging along here, getting ready for, or starting to think about getting ready for graduation. Ryan was home for a few days on his spring break, and we had a lovely time. And yeah, so just kind of back at it. Maddie's spring break is next week, and she's actually going to house sit for some friends, and so she won't be around probably all that much, but anyway, it'll be good. So okay, remember I told you last time I was going to do a what floats my boat segment, and so today, what is floating my boat? I have two things to talk about today floating my boat. The first one is my tea for the day. This is a lovely teacup courtesy of David's Tea. David's Tea was first talked about by Hipster Stitcher up in Minnesota, Rachel Danowitz, and I didn't really go for it then, but at Christmas time, Michelle Rudy sent me a beautiful mug with mittens on it and some David's Tea, and it was just killer to die for. So I ordered a whole bunch more and more cups, and today I'm drinking Caribbean Crush fruit infusion. This has pineapple, papaya, cranberries. This sweet and tangy tea is the ultimate tropical fruit punch. The only thing missing is a little paper umbrella. David's Tea is just, it's a great company. And when you order, you have the option, I think on orders of over $50, or maybe it's even $25, you get 3 little samples, which are just 1 cup servings. Although I turn them into 2 cups, I will drink kind of diluted tea, but and then on them it has, you know, how much water to add per packet, what boiling point to bring your water to, and how long to steep it for the perfect cup of tea. And so it's just, I don't know, just really, really great. So just a neat thing. That is super hot. It is delicious. Very yummy. The other thing that is floating my boat today is my little snack here. Like so many of you, or so many other people, I'm sort of trying to be healthier and eat a little bit better, and with that comes, you know, sort of healthier snacking. I really am a healthy eater. I love fruits and vegetables. I was watching Julie McConnell's video today at Reflections, and she talked about how much she hates vegetables, that they taste like dirt to her. And I think if I stop to think too much about that comment, I'm going to start thinking the same thing. But I don't. I love vegetables. I love fruits. I love, you know, healthy things. But I just eat too much of that kind of stuff. So today my little snack, and this has been my snack for the last few days, is a little bowl. It has walnuts, which come kind of big, and I crush them up, or chop them up. Sorry, my phone's ringing, and I'm just going to ignore it. It has just a few little strands of toasted toasted coconut chips, and some craisins in it. And then I threw just a handful of M&Ms, just 5 or 6 M&Ms, but that's just my little afternoon snack, and it kind of satisfies that sweet. Occasionally I'll add a piece of dark chocolate, just one piece of dark chocolate, and it kind of, you know, it's a little something, a little protein, a little sweet, a little coconut, a little fruit. But yeah, so that's what's floating my boat today. So just kind of a nice afternoon little snack. So, okay, I don't have a lot of stitching to show you. I have a ton of haul, and I'm not going to actually show it all to you today. I'll save that for another time. But I do have an FFO, and let's just start with that, and I will stop chatting and just start with the FFO. So I was doing some finishing for my friend Colleen. I talked about this last time, and she had finished the April wordplay, Brenda Gervais April wordplay, and asked me to finish it into a little pillow for her, which I did, and I loved it so much I had to go out and get the pattern and stitch it myself. And so I've been working on this, and I struggled so much with this piece. I apparently missed, when I was kitting it up, I pulled one of the wrong flosses, and so I had to substitute a floss. And of course it's fancy floss, so that's a little bit harder to substitute for. And then I just had mistake after mistake and frog after frog, and I don't know, there are many things wrong with this, but I finally finished it up this weekend and FFO'd it yesterday. And so here's how it turned out. The tray I painted, it was a $1.99 silver tray from the Goodwill. And I painted it, I only had some black and white, or two containers of paint, one black, one white. So I mixed them up to get a kind of a gray. And then this is some of my new fabric from Moda. Okay, sorry, I had to throw the dogs, well, one of the dogs upstairs. I don't know, she's just Barky McBarker today. Okay, so I painted the tray, mixed up the paint, painted the tray. This is fabric from Moda, flowers from, I think, Michael's that I got for another project. And then took a different piece of fabric a la Miss Priscilla and ripped the bow and did a very, very primitive bow, and there it is. And this sits, so the other thing I did, and I'll insert a picture of it, is I found for $3 or $3.99, I found at Goodwill probably last summer sometime, a kind of a shadow box cubby thing, and it was oak, you know, very 1980s with a heart at the top of it. And so I painted that and distressed it. I painted it several different colors before I found one that I liked, and distressed it. And then I have little, right now I have little Easter vignettes in it. And so this is going to sit at the top of that with a little stuffed bunny that is kind of a primitive looking stuffed bunny that goes up there. And so that's where that goes, and it looks really nice. And I will insert a picture here of that whole thing. Okay. All right, so then the other thing that once I finished up April Wordplay, I went straight to the Prairie Schooler book number 184, Vintage Eggs, which about 5 minutes before I was getting ready to film, my cat knocked the diffuser over on this and poured water all over it, so it's going to have to sit out to dry. But it looks like this. This was one that I think either Nell at Little Yellow House was going to do, or Jen at Delicious Threads, or maybe both of them. And so I had started this on Black Aida, and I was really struggling with it. The Aida was stiff. I mean, I think that's really what it's stitched on, 18 count Black Aida. But I was struggling. I haven't stitched on Aida in forever. And so I had put it away last year because I was frustrated. And I happened to place an order with Jen at Jen's Stitching Niche last week. for a pattern that I wanted. It was a kitten stitcher pattern that I wanted, and of course I ordered some other charts as well. But I saw some fabric that she had for sale, and it is, I believe it's 32 count gunmetal Weeks Dye Works. And so it looks like this, and it's just so much nicer than the black Ada, I think. It looks like this, and it's really not too bad to stitch on. It's light enough. It's just light enough, and that's pretty true. That's a little bit washed out. It's a little darker than that. But I started stitching the little duck here, little quack, and just late last night. And now my stitches, I was a little disappointed in my stitches. It's kind of like I'm stitching white, where my stitches don't look as nice as they normally do, and I can't figure out what's causing that. I heard Miss Nicole Buckeye Stitcher was talking about this the other day, how her stitches on her white stitches or some other stitches just aren't looking good on, and it has to be the fabric, I'm guessing. I can't figure it. I'm using DMC. I can't figure anything out, but I'm just going to go with it. They have gotten a little bit better as I've gone on with this, so I'm just going to go with it. These are very primitive. They're just going to be, they're vintage eggs, right? So they're just going to be kind of vintagey, and the stitching might be kind of questionable, but I'm going to go with it. So don't judge the stitching, but here's my little start on Quack. Isn't he the cutest? So I did the umbrella first, and then I started the, his body, the yellow, his head and his body. And I got down to here and had finished a piece of floss, and I couldn't take it any longer. I had to get his eye and his beak in there. He looked so bizarre without an eye and a beak. But anyway, he is super cute, if I do say so myself, if you don't look at the stitching too closely. And the Prairie Schooler gives you, this is one of the original charts. I think I got this from Jen's Stitching Niche too. Maybe 1, 2, 3. But anyway, they give you directions with a little egg template for making these eggs. But I have some other ideas. And one idea, I've had this jar sitting around for forever, and I'd have to have a whole bunch of these, so I'm not sure. But this fits just about perfectly on top of the lid of this jar. So one option would be to put it up there. I don't know, but I want to do something interesting with that. Then I haven't done any work on these yet, but the next thing I plan to work on this week is, this was a piece or a chart I had purchased last year at Julie's. It's Plum Street Sampler, one of my all-time favorites, and it's Hare's Hunt. I had done a Hare's Autumn with the hares, Mama Hare and her little guys raking leaves, and it just was killer cute. So right after I finished that, I saw this and bought this, and it's just beautiful. And this is called Hare's Hunt, and so I intend to work on this. I'm not, how far along am I? Oh, I've got a little bit done on this. I've got that first little hare minus one leg done and one of the Easter eggs done. So that needs to get worked up this week. And then watching Nicole Buckeye Stitcher the other night and her gorgeous Vana finished Snowflower Diaries Joyful World Sal, just, oh man, are they cute. And so I pulled this out. This was also done last year, and this is March. I'm changing this all up, all my own colors, just kind of winging it as I go. But there's March, and that needs to get finished up. And then April's is a rabbit, and so I do want to do April's and do that one. And then I have to do the hedgehog, because that's just absolutely to die for.